Welcome back, you guys, to Let's Vibe podcast. In today's episode, we're just going to do a big life vibe check and updates of things, as well as go over my Austin City Limits experience. I feel like that one meme or TikTok, you guys, where like that person kind of comes back in and she goes, "Hey, how y'all doing?" And it's like this awkward, tense energy because I did it again. I went ghost. I just realized the last episode 66, went live on October 1st. And here we are. It's October 29th. And I'm like, what happened this month? Like truly what happened this month, you guys. And it was so weird because on one hand, there was so many good things that happened this month. But on the other hand, there was a lot of like, what is going on kind of energy. And I don't know if anyone else is feeling like this, but I finally had the time to like sit down and record this. Like there's just been a lot going on, in my 9 to 5 and just like other things in my life. And then also mixed with like, I went through another kind of like dip in just feeling like, what's the point, in content creation? And like, why am I doing this? I'm like, blah, 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 blah. A lot of self-doubt, who knows, right? But we're on the other side of it. I literally just batched like a ton of videos that I felt super called to do. And I think what's coming up with this podcast and like my YouTube channel is that I just haven't felt excited about the content I typically would create. And so I'm kind of in a little bit of like a refinement period of like, what kind of content do I want to talk about on this podcast, on my YouTube channel? And so thank you guys for bearing with me. And I felt most called to just like do kind of like life updates today and kind of just catch you guys up on, some of the things that have been going on. And then also to talk about my ACL experience, which to be honest, I'm not the most excited to talk about it because yeah, it was fun, but like I have some thoughts about ACL and I probably will go back to like, I will only go to ACL if there's an artist I really want to see. I will probably only go to one day of ACL. And so I'd rather just kind of like talk about that and also kind of talk about what it feels like to go to a festival experience that doesn't quite, it's not that it didn't live up to expectations. Like I had no expectations, but it just kind of like fell flat. So maybe just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what to do when you experience a festival, kind of like a festival experience kind of falling flat for you and how to really like kind of come back from that, right? And so that's kind of what I felt called to talk about today, and just kind of get back into it. And I think that's what this is going to start looking like, is just sharing more like real life stuff. Because, I love talking about all the festivals and things, and like I kind of, we're entering the winter season as well. So there might be some really good things to talk about, and I am open to any ideas that you guys have. If you have anything that you want me to talk about, that's actually helpful for me to hear your ideas because that allows me to kind of like respond to it. I've been going down a human design rabbit hole. And if you don't know, that's kind of like, a new science of astrology, basically. And I am a generator, which means that I am in this energy of just responding to things. And so when people ask me questions or when people give me content ideas, that allows me to kind of tune in if I'm excited to talk about it or if I have tips to talk about it, whatever. So this is my ask. If you have any ideas or questions or things you want my advice on or anything like that, I have a form for you to submit those things, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram or just anything like that. I love connecting with you guys. And so I can't believe it's October 29th. I can't believe it's like the end of October. And when I'm recording this, I don't even have Halloween plans. I didn't celebrate Halloween really this year. I was supposed to go to Freaky Deaky and I sold my ticket. And so that's kind of like one, I guess, life update from October is that I was supposed to go to 3 Points. I was supposed to go to Freaky Deaky, and I ultimately sold my tickets to both of those. I just was not feeling called to go, essentially. And I actually did a TikTok about this where it's like, sometimes you can't force a festival experience to happen. And I felt like I was forcing 3 Points to happen. Like it just was not flowing. Like the plans weren't coming together. And so I took that as a sign of like, okay, I don't need to go to Miami. And I actually found out like one of the reasons I was unable to go to Miami was because of Taylor Swift, but that's a whole other thing. I didn't realize she was in town that weekend, and that's why the flight prices were so expensive were because of her. I know if some of you guys are Swifties, like you're going to roll your eyes at this, but she's to blame why I didn't go to Miami that weekend. But it's okay because I am just trusting that I am going to go to Miami Music Week and it's going to be such a great experience because I haven't been to Miami Music Week yet. So that's what I'm holding out for. But yeah, I decided to sell my 3 points ticket because the plans weren't really coming together. And then this past weekend was freaky deaky. I had a Saturday ticket and I ended up selling it. I was just like, you know what? I don't really feel like going. And I looked at the set times and I was just like, not like, I felt like I was going to be at one stage the whole time. Like I just wasn't really feeling that excitement while looking at it. And I think it was just a contribution of like how I've just been feeling. I think I kind of entered like a little bit of a maybe depressive kind of dip this past week where things were just super overwhelming and I was kind of like breaking burnout. And I was just like, you know what? Time to take freaky deaky off my plate. I'm not going. And so I sold my ticket, which was just really surprising. But, you know, I went to a ton of festivals earlier this year. So I don't know if I also could just be a little bit like on that festival burnout maybe. Like I've had so many incredible experiences this year, right? Like I went to Groove Cruise, Project Glow, Seismic Dance Event Light, Lightning in a Bottle, Regenerate Festival, Arc Music Festival, and then ACLs. Was that 8 festivals, right? Like 8 festivals. Like that's a lot. I haven't done numbers like that in a really long time. And I think going to ACL just kind of like put a bad taste in my mouth maybe. And I just was like, you know what? I need to take a step back a little bit because I went to ACL and you know, this was my 6th ACL. I've been in Austin for 7 years now. I skipped last year because even the year before, which was 2022, I just had this like feeling at the end of the festival. I was like, you know, this is a good festival, but there's some things that really need to be improved. Like it just feels like every year it is a copy and paste. And like, I'm not trying to knock like the festival organizers or anything like that, but like when there are such things like sound issues or crowding issues, or like there's more activations, but not really many other improvements to the festival, it kind of just like makes you kind of side eye, like what's going on, especially when, you know, the people that put on this festival are also the people that put on Lollapalooza, which I feel like Lollapalooza is like the big festival that it is and is so great. And I only went 1 year and I was super impressed with that festival. But then like you look at a festival that is in your home city and it's just not to the standard that it needs to be, if that makes sense. If you are someone that goes to Austin City Limits and you don't go to any other festivals in the year, or you don't go to any other festivals at all, you're going to look at that festival and think, wow, this is such a great festival. But if you are a seasoned festival goer, you go to big festivals like EDC Las Vegas, Coachella, whatever, right? And like, I can't compare electronic festivals to a festival like ACL, but you get what I mean. If you are someone that consistently goes to music festivals, you are going to go to Austin City Limits and be like, what is going on with this sound? What is up with these stages, right? And like year after year, like there's not much changes to production value. And like, I will keep coming back to the sound because there was just so many stages that the sound was just not great. And I know for a lot of people had comments about Dua Lipa, which by the way, blown away by her set. Absolutely loved her. She's a queen. But I was like in there. I was super close. I didn't experience any sound issues, but I know a ton of people in the back experienced sound issues. And when that's one of the big headliners, like you can't have that happen, you know? Like you just can't. Like it's just mind-boggling for a festival ticket that is so expensive as well. I paid for my ACL ticket. I didn't get a free ticket to this one. It just boggles my mind that the standard and quality is just not there. And that is why I kind of left that festival just being like, want, like I will go back for one day if there's an artist I really want to see. Like I'm already going to call it. I feel like Billie Eilish will probably be there again because she just came out with her album. Like I feel it. I feel like she's going to be there next year. I put it out into the universe about Dua Lipa because when I didn't go to ACL last year, I said, I won't go back until Dua Lipa's on the lineup. And then she was on the lineup this year. And I was like, okay, looks like I'm going back. So I know I'm kind of going on this ACL rant. Like there are some redeeming things to it, right? Like I love all the food selection. I love that they had some vendors this year. I love the little activations. Don't get me wrong, but there's just some other things that I feel like need to really be looked at with the production, the sound, and all of that, right? And that was basically kind of like all I had to really say. I did have a good weekend in the sets I did see. Like I saw the Marias over Porter Robinson, which is like shocking for me, but I really loved the Marias. Dua Lipa was incredible. Dom Dalla was great. Chapel Roan was great. Like we made the most of it and still had a really good time. And you can see that in the YouTube vlogs that I did. But when I like look at underneath like a microscope with it, I'm like, a little lackluster. I never have expectations for a festival, but I really did feel like this festival experience fell a little flat for me. And I think that's okay. Not every festival is going to be the most amazing, life-changing experience. I learned that so long ago with all the festivals that I go to. And if you're someone that, you know, lives in Austin, you don't go to many festivals, you look forward to ACL every single year, like I'm so happy for you if that is your jam and that is your vibe. But me, I go to a lot of festivals, so it's really hard for me to look at a festival like ACL and wonder like, you know, what's going on with this festival when it's literally like the same thing year after year. I also went with someone who had never been to ACL, and I didn't provide them any of my thoughts until they gave me their thoughts and opinions, because I didn't want to like skew what they would think about the festival. And it was funny because like they started mentioning those things and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of funny. I skipped a whole year of this festival and I feel like everything's the same. Like when I didn't go to EDC Las Vegas for like a few years, like my last EDC that I had gone to before the pandemic was EDC 2018. And then I went back to EDC in 2021. My mind was blown. Like I was like, oh my God, there's so much new stuff, like so many different little things and improvements and blah, 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 blah. And like, again, I can't compare an electronic music festival like EDC Las Vegas to something like ACL. Like it's just, they're just not even in the same lane. But when we look at like the standard of quality and like production and things like that, and like being intentional with the overall festival experience and attendee experience, that's where ACL I feel like falls flat a little bit. And that's just my opinion. Take it or leave it, you know? And I know a lot of people work hard behind the scenes to provide the experience that it does. And that's not me knocking it. I just think that there could be some improvements to take a look at. And that's all I'm really kind of like calling out, you know? And so, yeah, that was kind of like my ACL experience. And then the week after that, I was really recovering from ACL, which was kind of surprising. But I think because it was so dusty this year, like we were all struggling after ACL, and it was so crazy to me because it's like I literally went to Lightning in a Bottle, which was like a dusty camp festival, and I bounced back so quick. From Arc Music Festival. I didn't get sick after ACL, but I was on the brink of it. Like my immune system's been pretty on point this year, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, something about ACL, like it took a while for me to kind of like get back into it. And then I had a really solid week where I was like back in my routines, back in everything, feeling good, feeling great, like feeling this like really forward momentum. And then last week was just a rough week. And I think it's important to kind of just talk about it, right? And I think what it really comes down to is I am juggling a lot and I really have high standards for myself. You know, I have my 9 to 5 and I have a coaching business and I have Vibe with Aid content creation. So I basically have like 2 little side businesses, right? And then on top of that, I'm also managing just being a 29-year-old, you know, with friendships and relationships and, being social, putting myself out there and like all of these things. And like, I just felt like I was being pulled in so many directions. And like, it's just, yeah, it was crazy because last week I also announced I'm coming back to Arizona for 1, Thanksgiving, but 2, there's a festival called Better Together. It's a 2-day house event. And I am going to be doing an intention setting workshop event the day before. That is also paired with a workout. So like I launched that last week. I announced my new group coaching program last week and like all of these amazing things. And then like mentally was just like burnt out, overwhelmed, self-doubting, very pessimistic and being like, what am I doing all this for? I have no content ideas. Like, I'm just not inspired. I'm not motivated. Like, it was just crazy. But I think there's just a lot collectively going on, and also just like astrologically, that's like kind of confronting us with the things that we need to maybe like heal within ourselves. And like, I think for me, I just need to double down on, you know, taking care of like my mental health and my mindset. And, you know, one of the things that I am really practicing this week and just kind of like getting back into the habit of is, number one, not taking things so personally. That is the first agreement of the book, The Four Agreements, is one, not taking things personally. I've been finding myself kind of taking things a little personally. So I've been kind of becoming more aware about that and trying to get ahead of that, to not be triggered by that, because like there's literally no need to take anything personally. And then I've also really been practicing the other part of the Four Agreements. There's a second one, is to not make assumptions. I tend to make assumptions of, you know, maybe how another person's behaving or how they would react or whatever. And I try to like get ahead of it. It's something that I really struggled with before. And yeah, I'm just trying to release assumptions about other people and release expectations of other people and release that of myself, and assumptions and expectations of myself, because we're all like mirroring each other, right? And so I've had some instances where I'm being mirrored, you know, that I do sometimes take things personally, or I am making assumptions or having expectations. And so, yeah, all of these things have been kind of coming up. And then how I'm really combating, you know, the overwhelm, and also like kind of the self-doubt that was coming up. Like, I'm just really working to, number one, compartmentalize, you know, all the things I'm doing. When I'm at my 9 to 5, focusing on my 9 to 5, my mind can easily go to other places, right? But that's like my dedicated time, focus on the 9 to 5. In the morning time is when I focus on like my routines for taking care of myself, working out. And then I can also, you know, do anything I need to do for the businesses. And then in my afternoon, evening time, like right now, this is when I work on like Vibe with Aid stuff, coaching stuff, things like that. And so I'm really trying to like compartmentalize. And that also includes spending time with other people. So I'm not just solely working on the things I'm working on, because I have definitely done that where, you know, when I was working for myself, I was working 10-hour days and like not hanging out with people and just isolating myself. So I've definitely been doing better about that and finding a balance and continuing to just live my life and have fun and all of that. And so that's why I sold my Freaky Deaky ticket. I was like, I need to take this off my plate and go live my life and do that. And that was really good. The other thing I'm practicing is called detachment. And so detachment is just kind of similar to releasing those expectations of things and just detaching yourself from the outcome. And I'm practicing that in like all areas of my life. And so really kind of coming back to these key things and making them a priority of a habit, because those are habits really that you create, you know, in one way or another. Like if you consistently take things personally, like that's a habit. And then also too, if you make assumptions or expectations, like those are habits. And then same thing, you have to make a habit out of like compartmentalizing and like being able to focus on one thing and not spreading yourself too thin. And then also detaching is basically a habit. So really focusing on those things are kind of like some of the things I'm cultivating in my life. If you're watching on video, one camera got overheated, so we had to switch cameras. But those are some of the things I've really been learning. And I recently got a Gene Keys reading, which is just another form of like human design, astrology. Like I'm just obsessed with things that help me learn more about myself. I find it to be so valuable in just providing more validation for yourself and just a better roadmap of things. And so I got a Gene Keys reading that just like kind of snapped me out of it, that I'm on the right path and I'm doing what I need to be doing, and that there is a purpose to the content I'm creating and the business and offers that I'm running, and just all of that really helped me kind of like snap out of it. And I really just need to focus on my mind and overcoming like my overthinking and spiraling and like not letting my emotions kind of dictate things. And if I'm having a week like last week, just having more self-compassion for myself and honoring that, and also taking things off of my plate and just kind of like relieving pressure, because that's what it felt like. It just felt like there was just all this pressure on me and I don't know why. It's just things I inflict on myself, you know? So I share all of this and get vulnerable and personal because it's just like, maybe you're also feeling it too. And I find that to be super kind of helpful when we can hear from other people and just know, okay, maybe I'm not alone in this, you know? So if you're someone that's also been kind of going through that, where you just like are questioning everything, doubting things, unsure of your capabilities or unsure of where you're going, like just know it's totally normal and it's all temporary. Also, if you're in a season where it's just like you're going through some really difficult things, like trust me, I've been there. This time last year was a really difficult time for me, and I'm so glad to be on the other side of it. Even though I go through my mental health of things, it's better than where I've been, and that's a sign of growth, and that's a sign of healing that I can be grateful for. And yeah, despite the challenges of this month, there were some glimmers to this month as well. Some things I can't quite just share yet, but have been really making me happy. And there's some other things that have really come together. Like I said, announcing the event in Arizona, launching my group coaching program, which is all about habits and routines. If you're interested in maybe up-leveling your routines going into the new year, it's a 12-week group coaching program. I'll put the link for you to learn more in the description. Also have another collaborative kind of project coming together. And yeah, I'm feeling really inspired with what I'm able to do with the coaching page. I'm feeling really inspired with my coaching business and Vibe with Aid, and really how to like mesh it together, because I do see it so possible. And that also kind of came up in my Gene Keys reading of how to make that happen. So I know that, yeah, I have my work cut out for me, and there's definitely some things to come. Also, there's like, I've been getting this really big nudge for something that I've been doing behind the scenes for like the past 4 years. You guys have seen some glimmers of that as well, but I'm finally getting kind of that nudge and push to pull the trigger on it, and make some moves with that. So that's going to be coming. Like, it's just like, as I'm getting to the end of the year, I'm thinking, okay, do I want to keep living the same kind of life? Or do I really want to start following through on the things I said I was going to do? So leading this in-person event in Arizona with my friend Armando was like one of my goals for the year, was to just have some type of in-person event of some sort, just so I can get my toes dipped into it. And there's definitely going to be more to come. But then there's also another one that I have been not ready to do, but that's when you just got to do it. I know I'm being super vague, and I think it's because I just don't want to say it and then me not follow through on it. But what the heck, it's DJing. You know, I love the music, of course, in this scene, and I taught myself how to DJ back in 2020. I've put some mixes out, but when it comes to DJing in front of other people, I get very shy. So that is one of the things I would like to accomplish before the end of the year, is just DJ some live somewhere. Who knows? Could be for a crowd of one, and I'd be fine with that. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm viewing for the rest of this year, is just kind of continuing to challenge myself and push the envelope a little bit. I only have Seismic Dance event planned. Might do proper New Year's Eve, TBD on that. And then, yeah, I'll also be at Better Together in Arizona. So that's kind of what's the rest of the year is looking like. But yeah, I'm just really looking to continue to thrive and do my best at my 9 to 5, and then also continue to build my business back up and Vibe with Aid, and continue to be strong in that. Vibe with Aid's been having some really incredible growth on Instagram, which has just been really crazy to see as someone that's been a creator for 7 years. And then also just finding ways to be more devoted to the podcast and the YouTube channel, and finding content that I feel really excited to create and come on here and create. So that's kind of where my head is at. I've just been yapping for like 25 minutes, but I don't know, to see that a whole month went by, I was like, okay, we can sit here and chat, and it might be helpful to some of you. It might not be helpful to some of you. Who knows? But this is my life, and I love sharing it with you guys. And it has been a really great year despite the challenges, but I do think all of the challenges have really shaped me into who I'm becoming, and I feel really excited about who I'm becoming and the path I have ahead for the first time in a really long time. And I finally was able to kind of like sit down and look at where I want to be in the next year. I got really excited about it. So now it's just about making it happen. So I'm doing all the things I can to make it happen and bring you guys along with me. So if you have any content ideas or anything that you would like to hear from me from, anything you want advice on, that's what I want Let's Vibe podcast to be, is just to provide, some more inspiration and motivation for you guys. So if there's anything that you're curious about or need support in, I'm going to put my little submission form. Just feel free to ask questions or drop ideas, whatever it may be. And will you see me next week? Maybe, or maybe not. Who knows? Yes, you will. We'll figure it out. We're just gonna keep showing up and doing it in a way that feels good. So I will be committing to that. Thank you guys again and again for always supporting me and showing up. I know I haven't been the best in showing up in some areas of my life, like this podcast, but I appreciate it so much. And yeah, like I said, I have some cool things coming up with the event in Arizona. I'll put the ticket link in the description if you're an Arizona person, Arizona raver, and you want to set some intentions and get a good workout in before Better Together. Details about that. If you want to hack your habits and really level up in 2025, I will put the info for my group coaching program in the description as well. And I will have more things to promote, probably most likely, because there's just a lot going on in my world, and it's a very exciting time and a fun time and all of that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to today's episode. I'm sorry it took so long, but I just did not feel excited to talk about ACL, and I think that's why I was procrastinating this. So now that it's out there, it's done, finito. We don't need to talk about it anymore, and we can move on to the next topic, episode, and things. So I hope you have a great rest of your vibey week. Let's all just say goodbye to October and call in a really amazing November. And I don't know why I feel called to maybe pull a higher self card. This is my deck from the Cosmic RX. I used to pull affirmation cards at the end of episodes back when I first started this podcast. So maybe we bring a little bit of that back in. But let's see what our higher selves has to say about wrapping up October and calling in November. Ooh, keep going. Keep going. Your dreams are closer than you think. So that is a beautiful message to end on. Have a beautiful and vibey rest of your week, guys. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for vibing with me. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, all the things. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.